Welcome, everyone. Episode 2 of Simple Politics. And I'm Patrick, and I'm joined today by Andy.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And I'm joined by the person who is jealous of Pence, wishes he had a fly on his head, Steve.
How's everybody doing?
Pretty good, but a lot of stuff happening this week. This is a big week to unpack, and I think at this point, we know who the president should be, but there are still some people out there who are going to make cancerously immoral arguments, and but first, so this was kind of interesting when we recorded episode 1. I think it was like Trump got diagnosed Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he got diagnosed Saturday, and but we recorded episode 1 on Friday. He got diagnosed on Saturday, and then it got uploaded on Sunday. So we kind of missed that. Donald Trump, apparently he got some like experimental drugs of some type that weren't available to everybody. Also, there was something else in the news that apparently Donald Trump's son, Don Jr., is actually getting very concerned about his father now, apparently. Did you guys hear about that?
No, but like over his mental health, because
Over his mental health.
Because he's fucking loony.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't hear anybody talk about that. I only saw it a little bit. I didn't really. I don't know. That'd be a huge 180 for him. Just last month, he seemed like he was 100% behind his father.
Well, there was an article today. It was earlier, like this morning. I even showed Andy it. He was pretty much going off on California, saying they're wasting all their water, dumping it into the ocean to protect certain fish. That's what he said. Certain tiny fish in the ocean. He didn't say what fish or anything else. He just said California's taking their fresh water and dumping it into the ocean to save these certain tiny fish. That's insane.
I mean, do you think at this point Donald Trump has finally admitted to the fact that he might lose? Like everything is going bad for him and he just might, is that finally, they say the 5 stages of denial. I think he's in the first.
I don't think he's accepting he's going to lose. I mean, he beat Hillary doing the same thing he's doing right now, which he believes is going to work this time. And there's no reason to think why he thinks he would lose. He has the whole backing of his base, where he can easily deny all these claims like voter fraud through the mail, which it's not going to be a thing. But he's went pretty damn hard on trying to destroy the post office itself. Not to mention John Oliver mentioned about how Trump wants results of the election the same day. And it's never been that way. It's never been that way.
Well, all of the results that have happened the next day, they're always preliminary. They're normally right, but they're always preliminary.
And with all these mail-in ballots, I mean, it's going to have to wait a bit, but he's going to use that to his advantage because he can just start discrediting them.
Yeah. The thing is, when it comes to counting votes, every state evolves the way they do it. Now, some states have been doing it for years. So like Florida, their mail-in ballots, their early votes, they get counted immediately. But this is the first year that Pennsylvania is doing it. And it's gonna maybe 5-6 years from now, the state will be very good at counting votes. But right now, I mean, they did okay with it last primary election, but this time around, it's going to be obviously a lot more votes, and it's kind of up in the air. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some hiccups. There always are. I mean, another thing that every county does it differently too. So like Luzerne County just sent out the ballots. I believe on the 6th is it. You could go to the state department website and you can view your ballot status. And I know mine just got sent out on the 6th, so that'll probably get. I would imagine it's not going to get here till at least Monday. Then I mean, I'm pretty much made the decision that I'm going to go hand it in myself because you just don't know anymore.
I'm just going to vote in person.
Ballot yet.
Or that too, yeah.
I'm only like 2 minutes away. I can literally walk to my polling place. So I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to vote in person. Shut up all the boomers out there saying, why can't you vote in person? Even though Trump doesn't vote in person either. But there's a pandemic. That's the thing that people do forget about.
How long do you think How long do you guys think it's going to be before we actually know who won?
I mean, it's probably going to be like a week after.
I can't speak for any state of Pennsylvania because that's where we're from. But I would say, it depends on how it shows election night. If Biden is winning in Pennsylvania on election night, he's going to win. Like, he's going to win Pennsylvania because Pennsylvania, the last I looked at the numbers, like the mail-in ballots, it was like twice as many mail-in ballots were selected by Democratic voters than by Republican voters. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of those Democrats voting for Trump, but I mean, they would have to get like 3 out of 4 Democrats to vote for Trump, and I don't foresee that happening. I foresee it being, less than that, and so on election night, if Biden is ahead or even close, I think they could honestly just call Pennsylvania for Biden at that point.
Also, there's this if Biden wins Pennsylvania, his chances of winning the election go up to 97%. But if Trump wins Pennsylvania, his chances of winning go up by 87%. So Biden winning Pennsylvania it's
monstrous.
It's monstrously important.
Yeah.
I actually think Biden will win Pennsylvania. I mean, Hillary came close to winning Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
She lost by like, what, 40,000 votes, I believe?
Yeah, she didn't lose by a huge margin. I mean, Jill Stein took like 4% of the vote.
Yeah, it was about 40,000 people. Given if you take a look at, Trump won 2016 barely. 2017, there were some judicial elections. The Democrats and Republicans split them, and then 2018, the statewide, Wolf and Casey, who represent separate ends of the Democratic political spectrum, both trounced pretty good. Wolf obviously better than Casey did. And then last year, the statewide judicial race was split with the potential for high voter turnout this time around. Though I would imagine Biden will pull it off, at least here. We'll see how it goes elsewhere.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Biden overall is going to win it all. I guess the other question would sit around with Bognet. I mean, everything I see about him is bad.
Yeah, he seems pretty terrible. He seems right up there with Lou Barletta.
Well, I get tons of shit in the mail from
Bognet.
Bob. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to call him Bob.
Yeah.
It's going to call him Bob now. Yeah, I get tons of crap. He's complaining about the radical environmental ideals and stuff like that, but I don't know where he's coming off of that. And I mean,
no, Cartwright is He's a member of the Progressive Caucus. He's not in line with the squad, obviously. I mean, all the Democrats have they all vote together like 90% of the time. And he votes on there's certain big votes where he'll be more moderate on, but he's not showing up anywhere in any Green New Deal activities or anything like that. I think he's been trying to play it safe since
Probably for the best.
Since Trump won. I think he's been trying to play it safe, but because prior to 2016, Cartwright was he had some bold things. Like if you can recall, there was a hearing at the oversight committee, and he was on the oversight committee at the time, and he basically the Darrell Issa, who was the chair of the oversight committee, cut Elijah Cummings off. And in the background, you could hear somebody yelling at him, and that was Cartwright that yelled at.
So if Biden wins, do you think Bob will also win, or do you think pretty much everyone Biden's just going to throw their vote on Cart?
I think everybody's. I mean, it's very. To give you the last time this happened, the last time a president won and his party didn't take the legislature. In first term, not like
but you're saying there's a chance. You're saying there's a chance, though. So Bobby's got a chance.
That happened back when Daddy Bush, Bush 41, when he won. He got the House. The Republican Party got the House, but they didn't get the Senate, and that's usually a sign that a president is only going to last one term. We don't need signs.
We don't need to make fun of the Bush family enough. Then they already do on themselves.
Yeah.
George Bush has actually, oddly enough, has climbed into the public favor. Like even when you saw him at the inauguration day, when he was trying to put on that raincoat, people kind of forgot how garbage he was initially.
Oh my God. There was that one video. I don't know if he's on drugs or something like that, or if he decided to just smoke a lot of weed. I have no idea. But this was when Obama was president, and they were at a funeral, and he just starts dancing away. It was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, he's completely different than a person
at a funeral.
He looks a lot different than a person who would just stare at the sun 8 hours a day.
Oh my God. But I think, I don't know. Something in my mind, maybe I'm just paranoid, is telling me Biden's going to win, but there's that chance that he might lose because, the Jimmy Dores of the world and at this point, there's a bunch of things I could bring up, and we'll go into that a little bit later. But at this point, you really can't vote for. No. I'm not even calling him Donald Trump. I'm calling him DJ.
Drumpf.
Oh my God! But anyway, so there was a debate. A debate full of.
It was a garbage debate. It wasn't as funny.
Right.
But I actually thought Harris did really good.
She did.
Well, better than I expected her to do, actually. She actually didn't take shit. And Pence tiptoed around everything. He didn't want to answer the moderator's questions. He wanted to ask his own questions.
No. Yeah.
And then there's a goddamn fly on his head for a shit ton of it.
That bugged the shit out of me. I'm like, dude, there's a fly.
Yeah.
Fly.
So you have to understand,
fly.
He wanted to eat that fly. His reptilian brain was telling him, we got to eat that fly. But he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it national on the debate.
I'm not much of a believer in conspiracy theories, but
But if there's
is
reptile
one.
people, he might be one.
Yeah, he might be a reptile person. There was I mean, here's the interesting thing about the last two vice presidential debates. The one that happened this week and the one that happened back in 2016. Normally, the job during those VP debates is to just get sound bites. I mean, if you look at the one that happened between in 2012 between Joey B and Paul Ryan, he was just pretty much making fun of him, like just trying to get sound bites and just trying to egg him on.
Well, yeah.
And then in 2016 and this one, it's completely different because number one, both of them are old. So they both have to kind of seem like they could take the job. And at the same exact time, promote their presidential candidate. So this is kind of one of those things where it was almost like a presidential debate. And also more like I honest to God think that Kamala Harris should have went after him. And Hillary Clinton did this during her presidential debates in 2016. Women in politics, for some reason, think they don't want to they don't want to be accused of being bitchy. I can't really think of a better word for it.
But that's the the sex of society we're in. Oh, she's being a boss, so she's being a bitch, really. But
yeah,
she should have honestly just went for the throat.
Yeah,
she could have handed him a bunch of questions that he wasn't prepared for. I mean, he was stumbling to begin with. He is not a strong speaker at all.
No, he's not.
Like if Pence,
he puts you to sleep, honestly.
Like if for some reason Pence had to have a debate against Trump would just walk over him because he would freeze. He'd be a deer in the headlights. He doesn't know how to respond to just so many incoming words.
No, I think I do think that I think Kamala Harris should have just ripped him apart because I mean, as a former prosecutor, she obviously knows how to do that. She obviously knows how to just.
Oh yeah, but she definitely did it smart though. Like what she was doing in the debate, she actually was pretty much cool sounding. She didn't blow her mind. She didn't seem flustered. I think she actually did a better job than I was going to give her credit for initially. Pence did about on par what he was going to do. He should be thanking that fly because it's the only reason why people are now looking at him.
Yeah, I think it's. I think it's pretty funny that the Biden camp actually had Buttigieg do the debate prep for Joe Biden, and Buttigieg was on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert actually talking about it.
No, if I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear him speak though.
And the thing is, Buttigieg, he does a perfect Mike Pence the way he sounds it, and he puts it perfectly because Mike Pence says all the same lies that Trump says, only he does it like a lot like
without confidence.
Docile.
He does it very
docile
flat
about it.
It's a very flat. It's a very flat tone that he does it in. It's almost like he's speaking like a monotone voice. So he doesn't sell you on the ideas. Even if he was telling you the truth, he'd be a terrible salesman.
Yeah, I mean, that's another thing. Like, there were so much bullshit that he was talking. I mean, Kamala Harris, I mean, kind of dodged the question of court packing, but I think they're always. I think that's always going to happen.
But Pence asked that question.
Yeah, Pence did ask.
So she's allowed to dodge it.
Yeah.
Think of Harris as just like up there, like, so Pence, how does it feel that your dick's below average? What's your thoughts on that? Of course he's gonna dodge that question.
My hands are big.
My hands are bigger than Trump's.
Oh my God. But there was, I mean, I think the entire debate, he pretty much lied as much as possible when it came to the climate change argument. I mean,
100.
I mean, he talked about Eve. I don't think this is right, and I don't have the numbers in front of me. I could if search it up in about 5 minutes, but he talked about um, there's not as many hurricanes as there was 100 years ago.
And that's proven false.
Yeah,
We have what's called a hurricane season, when hurricanes will most likely happen, and their frequency. And we know now that that season's actually getting a little bit longer. And not only is it getting a little bit longer, those hurricanes are also stronger now.
Yeah, and larger too.
And what a lot of people don't realize is, even in Pennsylvania, we saw it here in 2011 when we had that massive flood. That massive flood in 2011 that flooded Wilkes-Barre. And they're talking about mass evacuations of 44 near those levees. The boomers are going to tell you that Agnes was worse. But realistically speaking, this flood of 2011 was worse.
Yeah.
We just had higher levees and more reinforced structures to prevent that flood from being worse.
Yeah, if that structure wasn't there,
This flood would have been easily double the power that Agnes showed the valley.
Yeah.
So these stronger hurricanes that people are thinking, well, maybe they're not getting that bad. We're constantly updating stuff. Like, look at New Orleans. New Orleans is below sea level. I mean, it is a city that's asking, drown me now. But we're going through extreme lengths to try to combat these giant storms. And that's why they might not seem as bad, but scientists, environmental scientists, I even did it when I was a senior in college. We can do what's called your prediction on a 50-year storm and a 100-year storm. And these are just probabilities and statistics of how often are you expecting to see a 100-year storm. Obviously, you're supposed to see one really bad storm once every 100 years. We're seeing that way more often than 100 years. I mean, we had 2009, which was really bad, and then followed up 2011, even bigger. And to just once again deny the environmental concerns for no reason other than pocket change for yourself is just morally wrong. I mean, all this big talk on fracking again. I still see it. Fracking is terrible. I mean, our first episode, I talked about fracking. I mentioned on Twitter to a couple people that I used to work at a fracking site. You know, those weren't easy hours either. I mean, I was working 70 hours a week when they told me, oh, you're probably only going to work like 50. That's a huge difference.
That's a very big difference.
Yeah, and it didn't pay great either. You know what I mean? It only paid good at the end because, you know, I'm almost working 30 plus hours of overtime on that.
Right. But I mean, he talked about like he tried painting Kamala Harris as the most liberal, like the most left-wing of all the senators.
He stood there with his pale-looking face, saying she's more liberal than Bernie Sanders.
I think Bernie Sanders might.
Wow!
I think the socialist might have
bold claim.
It's like no. I mean,
and things she said in that debate shouldn't even be an idea of is this liberal or is this conservative. She mentioned let's get rid of the private prisons. I don't like certain things shouldn't be political, like the coronavirus and the people who say, "Oh, I'm not going to wear a mask." You can already tell what side they're on, sadly.
Yeah.
But a private prison system shouldn't be a liberal or a conservative value.
No.
It should just be like what's ideally better for the society as a whole. How is being a conservative and trying to stick to the old family roots, meaning private prisons? That's not it at all.
I mean, private prisons, in every single way, you can't make a pro argument for it.
No, they're basically slavery with extra steps.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, they don't save money.
No, they burn money.
Flor-
That's their purpose. They burn money. That way they can always constantly keep increasing their need on a budget and the
Yeah.
need for more prisoners.
Yeah.
That's when you have to look at our prison systems and say, you know what? They are not for criminals to be rehabilitated and go back into society. These are now daycares. We are going to babysit you so we can make a dime off of you. We're
Yeah.
not going to let you re-enter society. And if you do re-enter society, we are not equipping you with the tools to join. You're going to be blackballed and you're going to end up back here sucking on my teat that I'm getting money from the government for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think private prisons is one of the worst things about the United States and the criminal justice system. I mean, there's a lot.
Well, because it makes the
when
criminal
you
justice
have-
system look like a
when
joke.
and I mean, just whenever you stick the profit motive into the criminal justice system, privatization. Everybody's for privatization anymore. I mean, and that's just part of it, and it needs to be stopped. And they got to stop going along with the idea of a private prison system. It's just
Well, because the major idea of America is they're prisoners. They deserve to be there. They don't deserve a second chance.
yeah,
That's why they turn a blind eye to this. They're fine. Good. Leave them in prison. Half of the people are still for the death penalty.
yeah.
I mean, it's hard to say if the death penalty is really worth it or not. It costs more money for the death penalty
It
than it
does.
would be for someone to be life in prison. At the same time, if you can have any amount of error on the death penalty, is it really worth taking? Like to say, oh, Andy, you did that motherfucking crime, you son of a bitch. We're going to kill you now. And then you do it, and then we find out, oh, we had it wrong. Well, we'll just say we're sorry, and we'll put like a thank you note on his grave or something like that.
Yeah, that's how. And in Pennsylvania, like it's hard to get executed. It's harder to get executed in Pennsylvania, but there are some states where it's no joke. I mean,
And that's what's gonna
you look at at some of these cases, and there's botches in the case. The jury is now like, dude, don't execute that guy, but they'll go through it. They don't.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's just too much room for error. Plus, the death penalty back in the day was supposed to be a deterrent of committing these bad crimes. You do these bad crimes, we're going to kill you. Well, now that we've had full motion death penalty, it didn't stop the crimes. People are going to commit these crimes if they want to. So the death penalty really doesn't have a purpose. I understand, like, you got to do case by case, but 99% of the time, no death penalty. I think that's the way it should be.
yeah, I mean, they have the federal government does a little bit better when it comes to cases that are overturned. But the state governments are terrible. And it's ironical, like, and also the other reason why state governments are terrible, actually, I shouldn't say state governments, I should say, like, local district attorneys. They're elected. So every year they have to seem like, oh, we're tough on crime. But it's like, I don't care if you're tough on crime. I care if you're doing the job right. But for some other reason,
justice.
yeah,
And there is no real justice when you look at this whole thing right now. I mean, obviously the Black Lives Matter riots and stuff like that, and Breonna Taylor, and they're still trying to slander her. Showing pictures of her holding her boyfriend's gun. And it's like, cops aren't supposed to execute the guilty either. That's not their decision.
Yeah.
People in the military have stronger rules before they can kill people out in a battlefield. Like, when they're patrolling the town of like Iraq and Afghanistan, they just can't start making it rain bullets upon the people.
No. But the police cops will, empty the clip and
people will think that's justified. And then that goes into the whole, morality question that has happened ever since Trump went into the hospital for corona. There's obviously a lot of posts that says, oh boy, I hope that fucking sweet potato of a person fucking dies. And then you see the people on the right. That's a horrible thing to say, to wish death on someone. That hypocrisy on both sides is pretty disgusting, really. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, you hate them, you wish them dead. Sure, good for you. But you also can't turn around and then say, like, don't kill anybody and don't wish harm on everyone. And both sides are guilty of it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you bring that up because Kellyanne Conway.
What did this dumb bitch say?
She didn't say this happened a while ago, but her husband is a member of the is a member of the Lincoln Project. The Lincoln Project was specifically founded to try and get rid of Trump, right? And she is the chief advisor to the president. I mean, she's not the chief of staff, but she was basically responsible for him getting elected president. Her daughter is 15 years old and is very liberal. So
I read a thing about her is that she lied about having coronavirus.
Oh, I didn't even know she had.
Yeah.
So I read somewhere that she told people she didn't have coronavirus, but she knew all along that she did, and she even got her daughter infected with it.
Wow. I didn't hear anything about that, but a while ago, like their daughter Claudia posts a lot on Twitter, and she's very liberal. And
I think she even made a post about it, that her mom got her sick.
But here's the
because she lied.
Yeah, but here's the interesting thing. About a couple of months ago, she filed for
emancipation.
Yeah. Now,
because her parents are fucking batshit insane people.
Well, not the father. Like, I mean, yes, he's a Republican. You can disagree with that, but he's he's actively trying to get rid of Trump.
Hey, that doesn't mean people can't be batshit insane. The left has batshit insane people too.
But there were people like going, "Oh, you go, girl." Like that's kind of a family thing. Also, like at what point, like you must have to be a dedicated person to let your family life go that much to I mean, she's finally resigning. I forget when she's.
I think she's actually already out, Andy.
Okay, good.
And what happened was she went to the Amy Coney Barrett thing. She went to the Amy Coney Barrett thing, and she might have been the one to get everybody infected. Who knows?
Like I'm saying, I could have sworn that happened not even too long ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's...
You know how pissed I would be if I got coronavirus because someone lied about not having it, and then they ended up did having it, and then they got me sick with that shit?
Oh, yeah, I'd be pissed. I mean...
And people don't want to wear masks, of course, still. But foreign countries are saying right now, this fall is going to be a huge increase in cases. And it only makes sense because for all the people who are like, well, I kind of have allergies, or maybe it's just a regular cold, that's still a huge threat. Because if I'm an asymptomatic carrier of corona and I just get a regular cold, well, my regular cold means I might sneeze or I might cough. But because I'm an asymptomatic carrier of COVID means I can then also, get someone else sick.
Yeah. I mean, they're saying there were a bunch of European models saying that it's going to be somewhere between 480,000 deaths and a little over 520,000.
And imagine this now.
It's like 200,000 now. It's terrible.
I think the last polls the last survey numbers I checked, I think it was a very high percentage that America is actually thinking we're doing a better job containing COVID than Canada.
Oh, Canada's
doing a great job. Canada only has 9,000 deaths. America has 200,000 deaths. And then people tried arguing it with, well, our population is bigger. Well, yes, but then you could also for those people who argue that because they don't understand ratios as well, even on a ratio on the same scale as Canada, we still have more deaths
Yeah.
than Canada.
President Trump tried making that argument.
Yeah,
and
no,
on
Canada.
Axios on HBO, he pointed out you can't do like you're doing it all total. You're not doing it per cases per 100,000. And Donald Trump's like, "Oh no, you can't do that." It's like no, you're just trying to use the number that looks better for you.
And I think a big thing is that a really, really easy math thing to understand. The law of large numbers. It's a very easy concept. So large number means my percent's going to be scaling with that. So if Andy, you're going to make $1 billion, and I ask you, boy, can I just have a 1% of that? The typical idiot would be like, yeah, sure, it's only 1 fucking percent. 1% of $1 billion is still a nice amount of money that people also just don't think about.
I would love 1% of
$1 billion. Yeah, someone's just going to hand that to me. And so when people are like, oh, this is like only a 3% death rate, we're very survivable. They don't understand the law of large numbers. We have a huge population. Therefore, a lot amount of people are still going to die. Because 3% might seem small. We have a large population. And the way COVID trends, that's what makes it a little bit deadlier than other viruses. Viruses have different paths they take, like Ebola, the Ebola outbreak. When people got Ebola in Africa, it had a high mortality rate. But Ebola,
the R0 value was very low, and you couldn't get it through the air.
Yes, that's the thing that separates Ebola versus like Corona. While most people probably would rather get Corona than Ebola, because Ebola you could have a higher chance of dying, obviously. Ebola was harder to transmit. And viruses, think about that game that used to be on the phone or the computer where you had to dominate the world with your virus. Viruses follow those trends. Do we want to have a high kill or do we want to have a high spread? Ebola went pretty much for a higher kill than spreading through the world. It's why Ebola just couldn't spread like Corona does. I could have Corona and just touch your hand and like fucking just breathe near you and you can get it.
Right. But well, it's interesting you say that because Mike Pence during the debate, he tried comparing Donald Trump's response to the coronavirus to Barack Obama's response to swine flu.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a terrible argument because one, swine flu is still the flu.
Yes.
It wasn't
it's just
that
a
hard
different strain.
Yeah, it was just a different strain. It's not that hard. It wasn't that hard to get a vaccine going for it.
And I think that's also what hurt Corona, the whole Corona fad, was people thought it was just going to be another swine flu.
No.
It's better to be prepared than be sorry. Pence lied in that debate when Harris even brought it up. Obama and Biden had a plan about dealing with pandemics. And then, Pence just sat there shaking his fucking head saying no. But it's been proven fact that there was a response team. There was a guideline of what we can do. They didn't care. He threw it all out.
Oh, yeah. He fired the entire team before the coronavirus pandemic hit.
And then he was talking about how we're going to make China pay. China's going to pay for this. How? What the fuck is Pence going to do to China? What the fuck is Trump going to do to China? Nothing.
Well,
they're going to roll over like every country does to China. No one's standing up to China, and no one's going to stand up to China over this virus.
Yeah. Well, on top of that, another lie, the World Health Organization declared coronavirus a pandemic 6 weeks before the U.S. did. It's obvious that that the Trump administration vastly underestimated this. Vastly underestimated this.
Oh, yeah, because he thought it was just going to blow over. He didn't want to buy into the hype. I remember when he was calling it a hoax, or it's not going to be bad. and then it progressively got worse. And then more conspiracy theories came out like, oh, this is all staged now.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, it's all staged. The world just decided, let's fuck it. Let's kill a bunch of fucking people because we hate Trump. The whole world's conspiring now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just. I mean, why would China team up with all of the European countries, which are completely diametrically opposed to China?
I know. To let a quarter of their population kind of just like get sick and kind of hurt their economies just to prove fucking baby Trump.
Yeah, it's absolutely stupid.
That goes back to critical thinking in education. People decide, oh, I can't really think outside the box.
Well, you mentioned like these conspiracy theories and the QAnon people. The one thing people have to understand, and the one thing that people have to identify in their heads, every good lie has a grain. Like
it's supposed to be it's supposed to have a grain of truth, like that taste to make you be like, oh wow, I could kind of see where that's going.
Yeah.
Some conspiracy theories, I don't understand where they get it from, like flat Earth. I mean, that's just crazy. Yeah.
The dinosaurs were here. Fred Flintstone was a documentary.
It is all proven fact.
Oh my God. But yeah, see, here's the thing. Like, people. I was watching a YouTube video, and this one guy in the YouTube video put it perfectly. Conspiracy theorists are trying to search for lies with a flashlight when if you just turn on the lights, everything is clear.
I think some of them are kind of like us. They want something to do. Instead, they decide, fuck it, let's go down some weird rabbit hole, I guess, today and see what's going to come up. But they're looking for something that isn't there. That's what it is.
I have a theory. I find it very interesting that from the 1970s, when the economy stopped, when jobs stopped being good for, when pay stopped keeping up with productivity, and the American worker got pushed further and further to the limit. I find it interesting that as that has happening, school shootings have gone up. All of these conspiracy theories have gone up. Also, let's be honest, Facebook, Reddit, Twitter, they're also kind of to blame for this too. I find it interesting. As the economy has gotten worse for the American worker, all of these problems start occurring.
It's an easy trend.
I am honestly a believer that if the economy truly worked for the American people, you would see everything. I don't think everything would be better.
No, but a lot of things are related. Like when people are like, oh, well, they're poor. Why are they sitting out there smoking a cigarette instead of saving that $5? Because what is that $8 a pack going to do towards like a $30,000 debt? Nothing. Yeah. So that's why those people live essentially like in the moment.
Yeah,
when you're depressed or when you're sad, you look for these vices to try to get by, because saving that $8 isn't going to dent a lot of the problems they're having. If jobs paid more and people had better opportunity, that would fix a good amount of problems.
Yeah, I find that interesting, and I find it interesting that,
of course, a better world would mean we're going to have to beat up Steve, who likes to put fucking college kids in debt for life. He enjoys that. He enjoys that.
Who, me?
Yeah, you. You love making sure that they're going to hang themselves with a tie. They call the repo man on all their possessions. I really want that boy's futon. I hope he can't pay
this debt. Where did this come from? Where did that come from?
Yeah.
Extortion and loans and debts.
Well, because
it just dawned on me where they. Okay, I see.
He just got it now.
That's right, Andy. When Steve brings home a nice futon, you know where he got it from.
All right. But yeah, like I find it interesting. Like, I find it interesting. Like as the economy gets worse and worse for the American individual, it's doing wonderful for all the corporations.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Amazon stock, Amazon, Apple, Google, all of them went up.
But that makes sense, though. When we're all home and we need something to do, I'm going to order from online. It only pushed things towards a trend most people were going was towards online shopping. So, of course, Amazon was going to make bank while screwing over the general workers like they did during this whole pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. But just I think if the economy got better, you would see it wouldn't all like it wouldn't get better overnight, but it would get
It would help.
it would help. It would help. People are hurting right now.
But that's the thing. That's when like your personal philosophies need to also come into play.
Yeah.
You know, like when you found out Trump got corona, were you hoping he was going to die?
No.
What about you, Steve?
I was not.
I was. I was. Well, I'm vocal about
Come
that.
on.
Andy, before you even got corona, I was always saying stuff like that to begin with, too. Okay, I'm not just now saying it. I was always saying that.
I just want you to know. All right, here's a question I have for the two of you. Would you rather Donald Trump?
You already know my feelings about Pence, too. I want it just to go as well.
I mean, if you want Mike Pence,
honestly, I'd probably take Pence. Pence is bendable. He is so bendable. He's a fucking zip tie.
But here's the thing. You have to look at his record. Pence is absolutely the most. He's the most conservative person
yes,
ever served in the executive branch.
But you're also thinking, oh, he's going to take charge. He's going to be no. He's going to 100% listen to everyone around him telling him what to do. He is not a leader. He is not a take charge type of person. Okay. If anything, he's a sub. Okay. His wife puts on that strap on and gives it.
Here's the thing with
Trump is the one who can't be controlled with a leash. He'll bark at the wind. Old man yells at clouds. That's Trump.
Now they used to always say, okay, well, I'm okay with having Trump because, yeah, sure, we'll be the laughing stock, but, at least he's not going to be focused to get anything done. Well, the fact of the matter is he has gotten stuff done. He packed the courts. He's packing the Supreme Courts. He did that ridiculous tax plan, which was just a gimme to the wealthy and to corporations, as it always is. So, I mean, Trump's been getting stuff done for the right wing in this country, and
the rich, so the very rich,
the old school. Well, Trump's not going to be able to get anything done. I mean, if you're a right winger, he has had a successful presidency for you. Obviously,
only if you're rich. If you're that trailer park right winger, what did he do for you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, but I mean that if you're in the mind of that right winger who's a little bit, who's not, rich, they're still thinking, oh, Trump's a great president.
Well, because they're stupid, and that goes back to the question. So when I asked you, how would you feel if Trump died because of Corona? Now, I think it would be worse if someone said, yes, I want Trump to die, but then go on to say, well, it's wrong for these other people to die. No, you got to have a point. Like, you know what? Fuck it. Just let everyone fucking go at their own time. You can't be so wishy-washy with this. I see tons of people saying, oh, well, I'm glad the cops are out there enforcing their law, killing protesters. Well, but it's horrible to say if Trump were to die. You can't do that. Now, if you were to say, I want Trump to die and I want the protesters to die, okay, well.
There's something wrong with you?
Well, yeah. but at least you're fair. At least you're being fair because those protesters are on the left and you want them to die, and Trump is on the right and you want him to die. It means that you're not really picking sides. You're fine when they both go. Now, if you just want to say only one person can go, well, that's more of a problem because you're being a hypocrite.
I saw that. I don't know why you just reminded me of this. I saw this one shirt at Spencer's that said
Boner donor?
no. I'm not racist. I hate everyone equally.
Okay, that statement's been around since like we were in elementary school.
I know, but it just reminded me of it.
And everyone who wore that shirt were racist pieces of shit.
Yes.
When I think of that shirt, I always think of that typical conservative fuck who sits there with his Pabst Blue Ribbon saying, "I'm not racist," but, and then they're about to spout the most racist shit at your face ever.
I'm not racist, but I think all black people.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna say I'm not racist, and then that butt's gonna follow the most racist fucking thing you've ever heard.
Oh my god! Yeah, it's just
it's hypocrisy at its finest, and it's just something that both sides do. I personally just don't give a fuck. I hate Trump, but to say that one side is bad for wanting him to die and the other side can die, that's also wrong too, though.
So, like, I'm not gonna lie. You guys know me. I try and be.
Who are you?
I try and be. I try to be the most sane, and I try to be the least.
No, you're cloudy optimistic, Steven. Would you say
I'm a realist. You're just such a pessimist that you make me seem like an optimist.
You're floating up there in the clouds thinking everything is great as you get hit by ducks.
Okay, but anyway, hold on a second. But see, here's the thing. The New England Journal of Medicine, who has never, ever in its entire time in America, has never endorsed a presidential candidate. Well, guess what? They just basically said, yeah, go vote for Joe Biden. Please get this guy out of office.
Yeah, because Trump's a nut job.
Bob Woodward, in his latest book,
I don't like that name.
He said, I've never done this, but please go vote for Joe Biden.
Wait, because you got to do what you got to do at this point.
Everybody who is at this point.
Well, you went off a tangent from my question to Steve.
Okay, what was your question? Sorry.
Well, I said you're like a floaty, like optimistic boy out in the clouds.
I'm a realist.
Sure. Where do you align, Steve? Are you a glass half full, glass half empty?
I don't know. I never really thought about whether I'm a glass half full, glass half empty.
You never been called pessimistic. You never been called optimistic.
I'm cautiously optimistic about the future. I think there's things that we need to do, but we need to work hard at it. Like we need to really.
I think when you're an optimistic.
As Steve's brother, I think that's actually a very good descriptor.
See, but I think when you're optimistic, you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
Well, but I
think
said,
being a nihilist is safer.
I'm a cautious optimist. I mean, I'm approaching this like it's a war. I'm thinking about myself as a general, and the politicians are the soldiers, and we need to put the right politicians, aka soldiers, in the fight to be able to get us back to where we need to go.
And then you're going to be let down if it doesn't happen. Because that's what happens with optimism.
But here's the thing. Steve has the right mindset. A lot of politicians don't.
That's why I don't vote for the Green Party.
But but no, see, that is the right mindset to have.
I think my mindset's a little bit better.
Well, what's a better mindset for politics? But
optimistic nihilism.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Now we're getting into philosophy here. Okay, but
philosophy does shape our everyday lives.
It does.
A lot of people's philosophies, whether they want to believe in a philosophy or not, there will always be what guides them through their daily life. Do I beat up that homeless man? Do I ignore that homeless man? Do I give that homeless man $1? Do I just give that homeless man a beer? You have a bunch of choices, and however you act, that's actually shaping your moral philosophy. Because if you beat up that homeless man, you're not then just going to also turn around and say, okay, well, I'm going to dance with all the kiddies in a field as well. No, if you're beating up that homeless man, you're probably also doing some other bad things as well.
But anyway, so speaking of which, speaking of philosophy, so we all heard about the FBI was calling it an alleged plot, but there's a lot of evidence against these people that Gretchen
That they were going to
Whitmore-
kidnap a governor.
Yeah, and on
And
top,
that goes back to the whole thing of if to say Trump dies, that's a horrible thing, but yet these people can try to kidnap this government, this governor, and then not have any like recourse against them.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like, okay, let's forget everything Donald Trump has said politically, and let's think about everything he said about Hillary Clinton and making fun of her looks and all of this other shit, saying that John McCain isn't a war hero because he was captured, making fun of veterans and everything else. Like, I mean, Donald Trump lost the moral high ground back in 2017. Any chance he had of capturing it just went out the window when the FBI revealed this plot. And then on top of all of that, after the FBI does this, Gretchen Whitmore, now I hesitate to say that maybe she egged it on, but at this point, everything she said in her press conference is right. Can any, like, it's not
That's
even
terrorism.
politics. It's not even
terrorism.
Yes, it's not even politics at this point. It's just moral high ground.
And that's the thing that
Democrats
people
have the
don't
moral
understand.
high ground.
And people don't understand that. They think everything has to be a right or left issue.
No.
If they
Kidnapping should not be a right or left issue. Kidnapping is wrong. If I said, Stephen, I'm going to kidnap you, and that's the end of it, Andy can't say, well, both sides have good points. No, yeah. Whether Andy is on one side or not, he has to understand. Well, shit, they're talking about kidnapping a person.
That's
wrong. Whether it's my people or not, that's wrong.
I mean, can you, like, Republicans who are still supporting Donald Trump? I'm sorry. At this point, there's a special place in hell for you.
Yeah,
there really is.
They're going to fall into the end now. I just think the number's going to be a lot less. I really think Biden has this in the bag. Hillary was not liked. She won the popular vote, not the Electoral College. I think Biden wins both. Trump is going to throw a hissy fit. His wife leaves him. And then Trump makes a weird, creepy comment about his daughter or something like that.
Well, here's the other thing. Like, Michael Moore mentioned this a long time ago, but if a 12-year-old made a comment to her teacher about her daughter saying, oh, if she wasn't my daughter, I'd date him or I'd date her, a teacher at that point is required to go to law enforcement and say, this is something that a student of mine just said to me. Like, this guy is we have to get this guy out. And
plus,
I want to know the Republican point of view. Like, if you're really that sound about, oh, we need to get Supreme Court judges and federal court judges. I mean, at this point, you have Donald Trump has appointed a third of appellate court.
Yeah, well, the Republicans are going to dismiss Trump's statement about his daughter.
Oh, he was just joking, man.
Well, they're also on the understanding of, let's say that wasn't Trump's daughter. That girl ain't going out with Trump any day of the week.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Unless he pays them $300,000 or however much they paid to
That'd be
Stormy
a night.
Daniels.
That'd be, but see, Stormy Daniels wasn't like a permanent. Now, Trump's wife, the Build-A-Bear bitch, she's been full out bought. Okay, that lease on her is paid off.
Let's not comment on people's looks, but anyway, like, I if I were Donald Trump's wife, I would actually be
You wish.
mad because if I were Melania Trump, I would be pissed because
Nope, that's not what you do. Not when you're in that position. She can 100% disagree, but she has to fit her role. And her role is get through it. That's all she's doing. But she's also not like a morally great person, okay? So she's not like completely flip-flopping on her own agenda. She's filling her role, and that's all she's doing.
But anyway, like, yeah, I mean, I'd really want to hear somebody try and make the moral argument for Trump. Because I would love to just rip it apart.
Well, because those people who think they have a moral argument don't have morals of an actual funding society. When people think of morals, they'll probably think of like the laws. The laws are moral. That's what they would think. And laws are not a guideline to morality. They never been.
They're not. Yeah, you're right. They're not. I mean, religion in a way has influenced morality, but it hasn't been. Morality is what a society, realistically speaking, morality is what society defines it as, and even certain things that are looked at as not moral aren't necessarily illegal either. But
yeah.
But I mean, it's just.
And then people also just need to understand the trending we're going towards now is. Harris even mentioned it in the debate. Legalize weed, get those people out of jails as well.
I was surprised she said that.
I'm kind of glad she did.
I mean,
yeah.
None of us smoke weed, but I wouldn't care if someone was.
No.
People already drink and drive the way it is. I don't approve of that. I wouldn't approve of just someone getting high and just driving down the highway either. But weed is obviously not the big problem people make it out to seem. Drunk driving is a bigger problem than a stoner getting high in a basement.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, weed is. I mean, it has led to, like, some people who don't.
It's not a gateway drug. It's not a gateway drug.
It's not a gateway drug. Some people who haven't smoked it that much, who then start up, they kind of get themselves into trouble because also eating it or having edibles is where a lot of people get into trouble, because most people don't know this, but eating it is 5 times more psychoactive than smoking it is.
And they also have a little bit too much because it's hitting them a little bit slower.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, I'm not really feeling it, so I'm just going to fucking go ham on these.
Yeah.
But to me, it is time to legalize weed. It's not a big deal. All the boomers can get upset. The thing is, then don't smoke it. That's fine. Boomers get upset that people have tattoos working at like Walmart. Okay, let people do what they want to do with tattoos. Okay.
I mean, at that point, it's kind of like a tattoo artist who runs a successful business. I would expect to have tattoos all over their body. Like,
the thing is, though, people.
But if you're a salesman or if you're a bank teller, I don't think.
I'm fine with that, though.
Oh, I know you are, but some people won't be.
But that's a problem because.
Yeah, it is.
Because they have a tattoo doesn't mean, oh, well, they're morally wrong or they're a terrible person. No, they just have a tattoo to show off their art. Same with people who have like dyed hair or long hair. My hair used to hit my shoulders.
Yeah, I know.
And people look down on that, though, and they shouldn't.
It's just
because that's not a judgment of character. That person has long hair. That's not a judgment. That's an observation.
Yeah.
Yes, I have long hair. Thank you.
Oh, it's interesting you told me that. You mentioned that. A friend of mine was talking to me, and she has a good armband. She can hide it under a short sleeve shirt, but it looks nice. And she said that this
Karen.
Actually,
A
it was a
Karen?
woman.
It was a Karen. It was a Karen. It was a Karen.
But anyway,
The woman didn't have to be named Karen. It was a Karen.
The woman walks up to her, says, "You look so beautiful, but that tattoo makes you look so slutty." And
She should have looked her dead in the eyes and said, "Thank you. That's what I was aiming for." Or she could have been pop punk and said, "Cute is what we aim for." I don't know.
Oh my god! Like so many of these old ideas.
It's also called just. It's also called just like fuck off.
Yeah.
You know. Let's say I'm your guys' neighbor. Steve loves to get fucking blazed in the backyard. I don't give a fuck. What the hell does that do to me? I'd be more pissed if I saw Andy getting drunk outside, peeing in the bushes, than Steve laying in a lounging chair just getting high, listening to music. People getting drunk.
Steve's eyes, he kind of looks a little blazed right now.
That's right. He's hotboxing his room. People who get drunk do a little bit more crazier things out in public, like pee anywhere they want.
Or pee anywhere they want, fight everybody.
Drinking. Exactly. People getting high, they're usually like lounging somewhere, like out of sight, out of mind type of shit. So why the hell am I going out of my business doing some Scooby-Doo shit, trying to find out, like, oh, that motherfucker's smoking weed. Time to call the cops, and I hope they tase him or something.
Here's something I want to know, like, what would a regulated marijuana industry look like? Like, completely
amazing.
It would look amazing, but like, there is actually, believe it or not, a cannabis caucus in Congress, and ironically enough, it's made up of 3 older congressmen. One, that's
when you got to start following the money now, because there's going to be money to be made, and those investors will position themselves to legalize it when they have their chips on the table.
Well, John Boehner, he was always against legalizing marijuana while he was in Congress. He gets out of Congress when he was he has his last year as Speaker of the House, and what happens? He gets elected chairman of a company that sells pot in Colorado. Like,
it's all about the money.
It is all about the money at this point, and I think that's weed's biggest argument is the money.
Yeah.
But on top of that, it's shown to have some health benefits for people with cancer, glaucoma, whatever. Anxiety,
pain relief, hunger, because it's very known fact that people who do have cancer, some of them will smoke weed to help with the chemo.
Yeah.
Because it helps. So they're not throwing up. It allows them to actually potentially keep some food down. I know that from also personal experience. My brother didn't partake in that, but I wouldn't also judge him if he did.
But yeah, like, I mean, a regulated weed industry would look awesome. At the same exact time, you know, some of the people would be like, some of the hipsters would probably be like, oh, it's not as fun as it used to be. But
I think that's a great thing. That way people don't need to be like 420 blaze it, bro. Keep it green. I would be great if that fucking all that died away.
Hipsters tend to ruin everything.
It's not hipsters, it's just people being stupid. Like, I don't give a shit if someone wants to get high. You just don't need to tell me about it. I didn't ask. I don't give a fuck. You do whatever the fuck you want to do.
But yeah, I mean,
how do you feel about that, Steve? Do you think everyone should just be allowed to blaze at any time they want?
I think it should be regulated. I do.
So no 12-year-olds smoking weed in the streets?
Yeah, probably a bad thing. All I know is even Bill Maher wants to keep weed out of kids' hands. So, I mean, we shouldn't be giving it to kids. But
so people over 21, like, you know, they could buy their cigarettes?
Yeah, I mean, 21. I mean, I'd be okay with 18, just not kids. Just keep it away from kids. That's all I want.
Well, I mean, we got to do 21. I mean, Drinking age is 21. Cigarettes is 21. No, 21 is that magical age.
You know what? This is something I thought about, and I don't know why. I thought about this.
Everything stays at that age. No change in it now.
No. I thought about this because, all right.
Nope.
Everything
no change in the age. Everything stays at 21. No change in it younger.
Hold on. With everything that has gone on this year, especially
we all deserve a beer.
That has come. Well, the class of 2020, they deserve a beer.
No, they don't. No,
yes, they do.
No,
With all the shit that's been going on, think of if you were 18 and anything that happened back in 2000.
Oh no! I got to be home from school all the time. That's horrible as a senior. Oh no!
Yeah.
I would hate to be off school as a senior. Oh, the worst thing ever.
Seniors in college, I feel a little bit rough for them because they're graduating.
They deserve, but they could get that beer if they want, and they deserve that beer. Exactly. That's different. Seniors in college get that beer. And Steve says, drink and drive. He promotes you.
Yes, I said, okay, Kamara.
That's right. Drink and drive. You earned it.
See, this is what I think. I think drinking age should be at. This is definitely a libertarian standpoint, but I think drinking age should be at 16.
Oh, God, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, not 16, bro. Dude, come on.
No, seriously. Think about
medical doctor. There's a reason why we set it at the age it was. You understand, right?
Yeah, but other countries have it at a much lower age.
Other countries do it, so we got to do that exact weird reasoning.
Okay.
What about their age of consent then? Should we follow that too?
No, 18. I think the age of consent should be.
Why? But we can follow the drinking.
We treat
that's why you're already wrong. You already lost the argument. You wanted to copy one country's drinking law, but you don't want to follow their age of consent for the same exact reason.
No. Here's the reason why. We treat growing up and becoming an adult in a weird way in America. We treat it as
getting a drink is not a sign of adulthood.
No,
drinking age at 21 is because your brain is at least mostly functional. I know most 21-year-olds, even us, we're pretty stupid then too, but we're kids still.
We make it into such a big deal for no apparent reason. We do, and we shouldn't be doing that. I guess
Steve died.
Oh, he did?
I'm still here.
Okay, your video went out for some reason. But anyway.
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to type a message in, so just ignore that. I'm gone. I can still hear you guys.
But we treat growing up...
Professionals here, all of us. Radio professionals.
We treat growing up into adulthood in such a weird way.
Okay.
Hold on, wait.
You're going in circles. You're going to give me a garbage point about growing up.
I'm not going in circles. Like, this is the same reason why I believe the voting age should be 16.
No.
I mean, yes.
No.
I'd be okay with voting age, but not drinking.
No.
Voting age should be 16.
No. I'd give you 18 on voting age.
16.
You get 18 and you take it.
Think about this. At what age did you realize you're going to go to college?
Kind of decided to go when I wanted to go. Do what I want when I want.
Okay, most of us at that point, by the time we were 16, we knew we were going to go to college.
No.
And then you had to take out the school loan.
No, that's not how it went.
Okay, then how did it go for you?
I'm not going to just speak on my behalf. I'm going to make a logical point to you right now.
Okay, go ahead.
Everyone who graduated high school, they were told, go to college. They were forced to make their whole life choice at 18, and they were not prepared for that.
I didn't.
College is pushed upon people.
Yes, it is pushed upon people.
Exactly. So when you're 16, it's the same thing. People are pushing you towards something.
Yes, but if you were 16 years old, wouldn't you want the decision to,
drink and then vote? So I should just bring in a beer while I'm voting because I'm 16? Fuck it, give me cigarettes then too.
Never mind. But anyway,
yeah, everybody, I'm 16 going to vote with my cigarettes and my beer.
Yes, but wouldn't you want
How come I can't have some weed with that?
I mean, think about it.
I would want, if I'm told I could have the decision at 12, I'd want that decision. That's not a logical debate.
But you're 16. You're old enough, at least at some
No, you're not.
point, to make a and really,
No.
you're starting to grow up.
I think
Starting to.
16 is old and it should be old enough to vote. Not to drink, but to vote.
Why?
Okay.
Why not to drink then? You're logical enough to vote. Therefore, you should also be able to make rash decisions. Do I want to become an alcoholic at 16 or do I want to become an alcoholic at 21?
Well, so do we want to say alcoholics can't vote at all?
Well, no, they can have a drink while voting, while being 16.
Yeah, but
With their cigarettes in
nobody
hand.
drinks responsibly. No, I don't want to say nobody drinks responsibly, but lots of people don't drink responsibly and they still vote. So
you want to ban people from drinking and voting?
I want to have 16-year-olds vote
And drink.
and not drink.
So you never want them to drink ever. So no liquor, going back to the Prohibition days so we can vote sober.
Well, no, I mean, the Prohibition days never worked for the same reason why Prohibition against weed doesn't work, because
It's a little bit different, but okay.
it's a little bit different, but not that much different.
No, 21's a great age to drink, great age to buy cigarettes.
Hey, don't forget weed.
Don't worry, I don't forget about weed.
The history of weed is in this country. It always used to be colloquially called cannabis, but then they started calling it marijuana because that's what
That marijuana.
It makes it sound worse.
Well,
The scientific brain makes it sound worse.
And hemp has tons of uses. For the
marijuana,
environment, hemp is better.
Marijuana is just that's what the Mexican workers called it during World War II. So they knew that if they called it something that would associate it with, non-whiteness, with Hispanics, with Mexicans.
Okay, so you're quoting Nixon here,
so
Nixon's people. But Nixon said, let's blame the coloreds on smoking the weed so we can ban it.
Well, that's basically what their plan was, and that's why the only reason it's called marijuana in the first place is because they wanted to publicize it as something that had to do with not being white. So another thing we got to start doing is start calling it cannabis instead of marijuana.
Okay, well, to be honest, though, who on the street is going to a drug dealer and saying, I'd like to buy one marijuana, please? No one. Who's going to a drug dealer and saying, I'd like to buy one cannabis, please? No. They say, I want to buy some weed. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying on the streets right now.
Weed's a good name for it, too. So
well, that's what they're calling it on the streets. They're calling it the weed. They're calling it green. They're calling it tree. People need plugs and whatever. No one is saying, I like one cannabis or one marijuana, please.
Well, if you're looking for a specific strain, you just name the strain that you want. Or, But
boy, Andy knows a lot about that.
We should go back to hemp growing. We should do a lot with hemp. Hemp is a good environmental use.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact uses of it, but I've heard.
Well, a lot of it could also be for paper, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of it's a good use for paper.
Is it the Constitution and the Independence?
It might have been.
Yeah, might be hemp paper.
But hemp is more renewable than using trees as a paper source because hemp can go back faster.
Yeah, you could grow it like in a farm, and you could grow the hemp in the farm.
You can make terrible clothing out of it that some people do like, but still, you can do a lot with hemp that has a lot of uses.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
well, let's be 16, lighting up weed with weed in one hand, beer in the other, and a cigarette on my ear, and I'm going to vote.
No, but actually, it would be nice to make cigarettes illegal, but we all know that wouldn't work.
No, that would be a bad idea.
Yeah, it would be, but
well, what about the chemicals that they put in the cigarettes?
Yes, that they should probably. Some of those.
They can get strict on them, but you have to understand. Not even too long ago, vaping was like hitting its boom. Vaping was going off. But as you saw, there were some slight hiccups to vaping. Some people were getting very, very sick. Some people were dying.
Yeah.
There was a reason for that. They were buying essentially black market vape pods that weren't regulated.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. They're all THC vape pods. If weed was already legalized and you could already vape it as well, those pods don't come into existence. So if you start banning cigarettes, people will get them, but they might be also a little bit worse than even.
Yeah.
It's like vaping. People are going to vape. If you ban certain flavors, people will find a way to get them. And because it's already illegal, there's going to be less restrictions on it. People would get sick from vaping whatever the fuck they're vaping. It's what happened with that whole vape pod crisis. It's not that vaping was bad. People were illegally buying them from illegal sources so they can get what they want.
Yeah, that's that.
Yep, Steve is dead.
Yeah, Steve. Well, he also put in the chat that his phone's at 5%. We're almost at about an hour. Yeah, but we're almost at about an hour 30 here.
Yeah, let's wrap this up, everybody.
Yeah, let's wrap this up.
Steve is dead. The flies are on him now.
But yeah,
the world is still on fire, but we'll be back again. I'm liking the video format, hoping you guys are too. We're hoping to grow, but thank you, everybody. Good night.
Yep, good night.